welcome to Allergy Dragon's Lair on YouTube. This is Martha, and it's a pre-recorded episode. If you've never been to Allergy Dragon's Lair or my YouTube, go ahead and subscribe, like, and obviously, comment down below. So today's Allergy Dragon's Lair, I have a really cool guest with me today. I have another dietitian. This is my second dietitian. And I actually met this dietitian virtually and have only met them virtually, unfortunately, during COVID, actually. And so what's really unique about Nicole, who is my guest, not only is she a dietitian, but she actually has food allergies as well. So it's not often that you find the combination together. So before we dive into this episode and we get to know more about Nicole, I'm going to go ahead and do my disclaimer real quick. And that is all of the views here expressed are personal life experiences and the experiences of my guest. If you have any medical questions, please make sure you contact your healthcare provider. I am not a doctor. My guest today is a registered dietitian, but still at the same time, please make sure you contact a registered dietitian or a doctor for your best interest at heart. Okay, end of disclaimer. Okay, Nicole, so can you introduce yourself, tell us like your journey, Nutritionally Nicole, website, all that good stuff, and where you are right now?
Sure. So my name is Nicole Ciuppa. I am a master's degree registered dietitian. So I went to school at Montclair State University. I did 4.5 years there. I graduated with my bachelor's in science, concentration in dietetics there. And then I went on to do my dietetic internship in that later 1.5 years. Passed my exam, and then I actually used the year of the pandemic to go back to school, and that's where I got my master's degree. It's in human nutrition from the University of Houston, which is really cool. It was an online program because of COVID, but it was still really, really valuable, so I loved it. So that's kind of like my education. I have a online community called Nutritionally Nicole. And that you may or may not have heard of. If you haven't, hi. But it basically started as a recipes blog when I was very early on in my nutrition career. And then as my passion grew and my education grew, I became a dietitian. It has expanded to become a place where I nutritionally counsel people and I write blog posts and put out other helpful information for people with food allergies and need nutritional assistance. So that's kind of the gist of my website and what I do. I also have a YouTube channel and some other social media that I like to produce content on to educate my viewers as well. But something else, so currently I work full-time at a hospital and I do a mixture of outpatient care and inpatient care, some long-term acute care, depends on the day. They keep me on my toes. But I truly have a passion for the food allergy community. And, I will get into it a little bit later, but there is a really nice upcoming program I'm working on for the community as well. So that's where I'm at right now.
So just a really small list of things. You've been really kind of bored.
A little tiny list. Yeah, okay, just a tiny one.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
We only had to reschedule this a couple times. We really did.
Yeah, just like twice or 3 times.
It's okay. We're not counting.
Right.
We're here now, and that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That's right. We've talked about this before, I know, and that is like not all dietitians, not all nutritionists are the same.
Correct.
And you all have kind of like different backgrounds and different kind of expertise. And you just went over that a little bit. And so I have kind of like 2 questions in one. So how important do you think it is for a person that is looking for a dietitian to make sure that that dietitian is going to meet their needs? And then how would you go about doing that?
Right. So I think it's crucial in any healthcare field, to find a medical professional who makes the client feel seen, who makes them feel understood, validated, also while providing the knowledge and the care that's needed to help them, right? So a dietitian is no different, and it's important that someone's dietitian is an active listener, who truly takes the time to understand what their client's experiencing. Not everyone is cookie cutter care, and every client's experiences are unique and they are relevant and validated. Dietitians and clients need to have that chemistry, that connection to be able to work together to help the client, become their healthiest self. And like navigate through barriers that often arise through that journey. I can't speak for every dietitian, but I can speak for me. And what I like to do is I like to always provide a 15-minute free discovery call when someone wants to be counseled by me, because it gives that opportunity to get to know one another, to discuss the reasons for seeking that nutrition guidance, how we can work together to achieve their goal. And it's a way where the client never needs to commit monetarily on for their time to a healthcare professional that may not fit with them. So that's what I like to do. I know everyone has a different kind of thing, but yeah, super important.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think, the biggest part of it is to not waste either one of your all's time. I mean, if you can't handle this, then you can just point them in the direction of somebody else who can.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say, if someone comes to me, I'm human. So if someone comes to me and I don't specialize in something, or I feel I can't give them the care they need, I always refer them out to someone else. Because again, it's the client is always comes first. So if I feel like they need a different type of care, then that's who I'm going to give them, So yeah.
Yes, I know, because I work with a lot of RDs, so they'll be like, "Oh, yeah, you want to learn how to cook? Go to her."
Exactly. Yes.
I always said it's amazing how many registered dietitians I know that just don't cook either, by the way.
Yes, I've seen that as well. I've definitely seen that as well. There's a lot of dietitians that I've met throughout the years who are just like not into cooking at all. And I'm always like, that's so ironic, but hey, teach their own,
Exactly. I know you cook though, so that's why I said it's really ironic how many people I know, and I'm like, wow.
I know
you talked about mindful eating. So exactly what does that mean? And how do you help people with that?
Okay. So mindful eating it's an approach that focuses your awareness onto food and your experience with food. And it's all about being conscious about what you're eating and why. It's also learning to listen to your body and how you're feeling when it comes to eating, and just kind of being in a space where food is present. So that's the gist of mindful eating. And I help people, I guess we'll talk about the new upcoming way I'm going to be helping people, but I have been kind of squirreling myself away for the past 2 years, creating a program called Harmony in the Kitchen. And it basically is a primarily self-guided workbook that one can use to create a healthy relationship with food as they live with food allergies. Because a lot of the time we see a lot of dietitians and a lot of the nutrition community talk about mindful eating, mindfulness, and it seems like such a wonderful topic, and it is. But I never see anything geared specifically towards our community, and I felt that was a gap that I could fill, because I just felt like it was needed, and I had the education and I can do it. So that's what I did. And basically, I think it's really unique to have a self-guided workbook, because, I as a dietitian might see you virtually once or twice in a month or once a week, depending on the person's schedule and how they want to do that. But this book is really meant to build a person's self-efficacy so that they can every day build better habits for themselves and feel themselves changing. And it's empowering because they feel like they're doing it, because at the end of the day, they are. I can give them as much education as I can. And at the end of the day, it's them to make that decision to want to better themselves. So the book focuses on that. And that's my piece, I feel, to the nutrition community of how I'm helping people eat more mindfully. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you so much for breaking that down. And then, that sounds really interesting. And I can't wait to even look at what you're going to be putting out. I don't know. I think it's awesome that you're gearing it towards the allergy community. Obviously you're part of the allergy community. So you're like, wait a minute, this needs to be fixed. So I love that when people go, let me fix that. Absolutely.
I feel like even going back to before I started going to college for nutrition, I felt like if I had this workbook in high school, my life would have been totally changed. I would have been like, wow, I do not have to, go throughout life thinking a certain way or trying to be something. And it's like, this book, I feel like, is just such a care gap that I feel like I can very confidently provide to people. So I'm really excited to see how it can help, even just one person. So Yeah.
So all jobs come with challenges. Yours is no different than mine. So can you share with us anything good, bad, or ugly that came from having food allergies yourself and, doing your job as an RD?
Sure. So I find that the majority of the challenges I faced, occurred when I was being a nutrition student, in both in college and then afterwards in the internship. And I say that because, in college, there were classes focused on food science where it was a taste, aroma, texture-based food science class. And I remember needing to step out of class and needing to just sit in the hallway and, depend on my classmates to come out and help me fill out my worksheet for the day. So there definitely were experiences with that where I was a little bit like, okay, I'm missing out, but it's also not safe. So there's not much I can do there. But that being said, my professors were really understanding of that because obviously it's a medical issue. So they were okay with it, but it does make you think like, oh, okay, here I am in the hallway. But the other thing I will say is in my internship, during my food service rotation, I remember there was a day where I was in the kitchen, and this was before masks were needed like outside, but you obviously still needed them in the kitchen. So I went to go grab one, and on my way to grab one, there was a food service worker who was making a powdered pudding, I think, for the day. It was at a long-term care. And the powdered milk concoction kind of like wafted into the air. And before I got the mask, I inhaled it and I was like, oh no. So if no one here knows me, I am a very cautious person. And I panic quite easily when things like that happen. I guess understandably so, but it's what I do. I'm quite the alarmist. So I kind of was like, okay. And it was my first day at the rotation. So I was like, I don't want to be embarrassing, but I also don't want to have a reaction. What am I supposed to do right now? So I kind of just I was like, okay, maybe it's fine. Maybe it's fine. So I put the mask on. I started to, help out in the kitchen, and I noticed my ears were really itchy, and I started getting an itchy throat, and I was like, oh no. So I go out of the kitchen into my preceptor's office, and she was so wonderful with me. She was like, what's going on? Explain the whole thing, took my Benadryl. And there was actually a nurse there who came in with a blood pressure cuff and a pulse ox, and was kind of talking me through your levels are fine, you're fine. So I'm like, okay, maybe I don't need the EpiPen. I know they always say to do Epi first, but that day I did not. I did Benadryl. And I was very close to driving myself over to the hospital, but I didn't because the symptoms didn't get worse. That being said, my preceptor was like, go home. She was like, just take the day, go home, come back tomorrow. I was like, okay. So that's what I did. I went home, called my allergist. I did end up going to the ER just to get checked out and get some steroids after I came home. But my allergist said no EpiPens would have been fine for me in that situation. So, challenges like that. But currently, I don't think there's really any other issues that I can think of. And I think it's because now as a working professional, you kind of have leeway of where you are and where you can be if your job isn't in a kitchen. Mine's just in an office by the kitchen. So I have a mask on every day anyway for COVID reasons. And I just feel like I could remove myself and do work somewhere else if I needed to. It's more freeing, I guess.
That is cool. Yeah, I didn't think about the education part of that for the food. So that was very awesome that you brought that up. Yeah, you never know because I've never done it. And for those of you that don't know, preceptors and all that good stuff that she was talking about. It's like a training person. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, we're both in hospitals, so you were just like, precept, I know exactly what you're talking about. You're good. Yeah. But so it's just pretty much who's training you, and you have to do some clinicals. Yes. Which and usually you have to actually participate in food service, to get you to get that kind of thing done. So anyway, if you don't know about that, go check out how to be an RD. It's actually a lot more challenging than what people think. Very cool insight. Yeah, I didn't even think about it, and that's really bad for me. I didn't even think about the fact that when you would be doing that one class, with the food and the food science part, that would be very hard.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah.
Yeah. It would be me too. I was like,
I remember there's classes where, I'm allergic to eggs and dairy and a bunch of other things, but I remember classes like we had one whole 4-hour class on eggs, just how to cook eggs differently to temperature and to get the perfect consistency. And I'm like, I'm just going to sit, like, I can't participate in any of this. So it's definitely interesting. It definitely is interesting. So.
Yeah. And then they forget to like say anything about, like, I just did a tofu class actually through Allergy Dragon a few months ago. And so I was doing tofu because people don't know a lot about it, but it is one of the top 8 major allergens. So I was asked to go to the news. So I was on the news.
Nice.
My segment's on my YouTube channel. I'll link it wherever. But so the segment says yes.
You got excited.
I did. The segment's on the YouTube channel. So anyway, but yeah, I was like talking about the fact that, you know, tofu's great if you can eat it. It's still one of the top 8 major allergens. It's soy. You know, same thing with egg. And actually it's 9 allergens now, but you know, so it's great if you can eat it, but you may not be able to eat it. So I actually focused on that aspect of it. And I used the tofu to making an egg substitution. In baking when I was doing my segment. So anyway, but yeah, that just popped in my head. I was thinking about it. I was like, but if you can't eat it, so that was like the first thing I talked about was it is a top allergen.
Right. I also think, you know, being a dietitian definitely at the beginning opened my eyes to the fact that, you know, not everyone has my same allergies. And I think, you know, growing up, you kind of live in a bubble of like, this is all you need to care about. And once I went through nutrition school, I'm like, okay, well, if someone comes to me and they have a wheat allergy, now I need to find alternatives for them. You know, it's not just about me anymore. It's about everyone else. And it's like, you know, I think that's one of the good things, because working in a hospital right now, it's, you know, there is a big disconnect still between the kitchen and, you know, what kind of food a patient is fed. And, you know, some days I get incredibly furious at the fact that things are overlooked or things aren't recorded properly. And, you know, it just takes that extra step to say, okay, let me go to their room, talk to them directly if they can mentally talk to me and get the information I need, because I like take that as a personal challenge sometimes, even if they're not necessarily my patient. Like if someone calls down, I'm like, no, I got it. It's an allergy patient. Let me do this, because I know how scary it is. I'm just like, you know how scary it is. A lot of the viewers know it's, you know, you go to a hospital to have yourself taken care of because you are sick. You can't physically take care of yourself at that moment. So your trust is with other people. And when they don't do it properly for whatever reason, them, you know, not knowing, or it gets overlooked, whatever it may be, it's terrifying, you know? So I definitely take that as a personal challenge. And I'm like, okay, I got it. Let me make sure that you have this. And I talk to everyone I need to know, because I'd want someone to do that for me. So.
Exactly. Yeah. And exactly right there on the same page with you. And that's actually one of the reasons I had to kind of disconnect myself, because I realized I can't do it all. Can't do it all. And that's a whole nother conversation we'll have off of camera, but because we have talked about that at least before.
Yes. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, but yeah, it's literally, it's amazing to me. And people will be like, well, how can I actually help look into allergies, or how can I? And I'm like, somebody that doesn't have any food allergies at all, my biggest thing is go read the label. Do you know exactly what's in your food? Because you don't have to read the label. I mean, there's no medical reason for you, unless you're on the special diet or you have food allergies. But you have to read it. See exactly what you're eating. Because I had one guy that was telling me, and the soy thing, tofu, I don't eat any soy. I've never ate any soy, blah, blah, blah. And I said, look at that label. I can guarantee you eat soy.
Yeah. Soy is in the majority of things. So.
It's in a huge amount of stuff. So anybody that's like, I don't eat soy, I don't eat tofu. Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
So I'm like, read that label. If you know everything that's in that label and you feel confident, then pick it up and buy it. But if not, maybe you should do some research.
Right.
What exactly is that?
Absolutely. There's also, you know, in the hospital right now too, there's a big talk because, you know, with tube feedings, there are allergens in tube feedings. And so when you have a food allergy patient who needs a tube feed, it is really challenging to be able to get them what they need. You know, there are specialized formulas out there online, but that's something that we'd have to call the family and say, you need to purchase this so the nurse can give it to them. Like, we don't offer that. And I hate having to tell them that, because a hospital should have at least one formula that is top 9 free, because it's really needed. And especially the fact that so many people have allergies now, and so many more people in their later years are developing them. Like, it's no longer just the pediatric wards that need them. So yeah, definitely.
Yes. I agree with that so much. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah, it's a challenge.
Okay, so I know you already spoke on it a little bit, but do you have any plans or goals or for the future Nutritionally Nicole? I mean, you're pretty much already shared it with us, but do you have anything additional that you want to,
Yeah, I can expand on that a little. So, like I said, I do work full-time in a hospital. I would love to say that I could just quit that tomorrow and just do Nutritionally Nicole counseling the full time and, put out programs and content, but it's a little unrealistic for me, honestly, at this point, because I need the healthcare benefits and that's where I get them. So at this point, I think January 2023 is when people can expect the Harmony in the Kitchen program and workbook to be released for purchase, for participation. And it is something where, I didn't mention this before, but throughout the duration of the program, it's a 4-week program. And then it comes with a journal at the end where they can fill it out for the days afterwards. But throughout the 4 weeks, each week there will be a call with me where we can discuss the person's progress and if they have questions, challenges, goals, things like that. So it's really interactive, but also gives you that nice empowerment of being able to do this on your own too. And with that, my counseling is on pause from now until January. So if people do want counseling, it will open back up in January for the program. But I think people are really going to resonate well with this. I put a Instagram post out about 2 years ago now, and it was basically shedding light on the 9 different ways that food allergies can affect a person's relationship with food. And the response from that was incredible. I did not expect that to blow up as much as it did. And I got a lot of messages saying that they felt very seen and that they weren't alone. And I was like, okay. And that's when I kind of realized there was this care gap that I could fill. And so that's really what kind of sparked my path to create the program. So I really think people will have an opportunity to create something amazing within themselves with this. And I'm just really excited to get it out so that people can start reaping the benefits from it, I hope.
I think it's awesome. I can't wait to see it.
Thank
I really
you.
can. You're welcome. And I'm not just saying that either. I'm really excited.
I know, I trust you.
So,
thanks.
okay. Well, good. So anything else you want to add before we wrap up, or anything else you think you want to add to anything?
No, I think we covered a lot. I'm just really excited for the next steps, honestly. And I feel like, the more and more that we're moving into a digital age, I feel like this kind of format will be much appreciated too with people, because, I think we very much are in an age where a lot of the stuff we consume online is sort of detrimental to our health, whether that be our mental health or just different thought processes we have. And we consume so much information on the daily. So hopefully this is a piece of something that people will consume that can help better themselves in a way. And, also, as I was creating the workbook, I was targeting the food allergy community. And, it's to be said that you can practice mindful eating at any age. It's not for kids, it's not for adults, it's for everyone. And I think the book does a really good job, I tried to anyway, to shed light on that and just make these as timeless as possible. For you can come to these guidelines and these different case studies in the book and these different knowledge pieces in the book, that whatever you're going through in your life, those can be things that can help get you through to create some healthier habits. So
awesome. So like whatever journey you're at,
correct,
in your food allergy journey, literally. Okay,
absolutely.
That's awesome.
It can be. This book is very much for if you were first diagnosed and you're like, I have no idea what to do. This isn't necessarily like the medical piece of food allergy life. This is more so like, how can I keep or create a joyful food experience that isn't plagued by thoughts of, I can't eat that, I can't do this. this will
Mhm.
kill me. So it's very much shedding light on how to stay positive in a practical way. It's not like this toxic positive environment.
Yeah.
It's practical how I can still stay having a joyful relationship with things I can still eat. So yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I stand for. And that's one of the reasons we connected so instantly.
Yeah.
Or at least it was for me when we're in the group online. But
Absolutely.
it's everybody deserves delicious food no matter what
Yes.
your diet restrictions are. That's what we stand for, Allergy Dragon. And
100%.
yes, exactly. So we got to find the joy in joyful eating, no
Yes.
matter what.
No matter what.
That's right. Okay, well, make sure everybody to check out, I will have links below where you can check out Nutritionally Nicole and subscribe to her website and things like that, and YouTube, etc.
Yeah.
You send questions her way. You can send questions down below, comments, and we'll get back to you about them.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so go ahead, subscribe, like, do all that good stuff, share away, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.